Sing along if you know the words. A 1, 2, 3, it's time for animation, deliberation. A conversation and a celebration of our favorite action animated series. Yeah. Whew. Just had to get that out of my system. It's been a couple of weeks. Greetings and salutations, animation deliberation listeners. It's your boy, Jay Scotty. I apologize for not being able to be on the podcast live. I know it's been a couple of weeks. Let's just say that I am currently locked in a battle with the Eternity Devil. I can't seem to escape the 8th floor of this cheap and seedy motel. But definitely wanted to chime in a little bit. I won't, again, steal my co-host thunder, but just had to spout off about a few things. I know Andrew and Zuhair mentioned it, but I have to say my piece on, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. It's been a couple of weeks now, but such a significant loss to the animation, action animation community and a legendary voice actor. Will definitely be missed, but appreciate his valuable contributions to the legacy of Batman. He is the voice of Batman for me, as he is for so many other people. Also, unrelated to animation, but just, in a time of losses, I myself, a big part of my morning routine was watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the Green Ranger was always my favorite. Before it became the popular thing, the Green Ranger was always my favorite. So with the passing of Jason David Frank, definitely want to make a mention to him and thoughts and condolences to his family. Okay, in the realm of animation, I don't want to do any spoilers or anything like that, so I will just say Spy Family continues to impress. The introduction of a new character, a new supporting character, bodes really well for me. I think this character will be an interesting foil for Yor, who is one of my favorite characters, so if she can get a little bit more to do, I'm always on board. And continue to be really delighted with the way that show's progressing. Chainsaw Man, wow, that's going to be a tough one not to go into spoilers about, but I really like the rhythm of the show so far. It's like we have these little vignettes where we get to see the devil hunters kind of embrace the normal, as normal as it gets around here, side of life, but just being able to kind of cut loose and have a reprieve from this intense life that they have, and then to go from that to the sheer insanity that we witnessed at the end of the last episode. I don't know the finality of a lot of these fates because so much happened. I don't see how the show could go on if some of these stick, but it's definitely got me on the edge of my seat. And finally, My Hero Academia, it's intense. It is intense, and the show is firing on all cylinders. The animation, the music, the voice acting, the story. It's got me gasping. Again, nobody feels safe, especially at the end of the last episode. I cannot wait to tune in for the next edition there. But I was actually talking to someone who kind of said they fell off after the second season. I was like, how is that even possible? And then if there was ever a better time to return and catch up, it's now. Like, binge those few seasons you missed in between and get on board, because now is the time to really see where this series is going. It's really up the ante, and I like the progression. I like the stakes. It's feels like the show is matriculating in a way much like it should, like our heroes are. So again, to make those Harry Potter comparisons, they're there. I will throw it back to Andrew and Zuhair. Thank you for keeping the ship going, keeping the ship steady, keeping the ship on course in my absence, and hopefully it's not too long before I can return in person. And thanks as always for tuning in. That's TOONIN.
On another exciting entry of the Animation Deliberation podcast, we are thankful for great shows. We are thankful for great storytelling. We are grateful for you, the listeners, and for all of these things that we're going to talk about right after these ads we have no control over.
And sing along if you know the words. A 1, 2, 3, it's time for animation deliberation. A conversation and a celebration of a favorite action animated series. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Animation Deliberation Podcast, where we take action and animation. Excuse me, where we take action. Oh my god.
Are you missing cartoons? Is that the word that you're tripping yourself up on, or what's happening there?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
We take action and animation and cartoons seriously, but not too seriously. We took a week off. It was Thanksgiving. We're still full from all the food that we ate. We're keeping this raw because we are genuine with you and because we don't want to give our boy Jay Scotty too much extra to edit. He's busy devil hunting right now. I'm Zuhair Ali.
and I am Andrew Rogers.
And we welcome you guys back. We hope you guys didn't miss us too much because clearly you haven't missed too much.
The show hasn't gotten better at the very least. You've just gotten a goofy energy.
We're just loonier, if anything.
I wish all of you could have seen the minute that Zuhair fumbled over his words. I thought he fell out of his chair. He just disappeared from view, disappointed in himself, and then popped back up out of nowhere to say action animation.
I was in the process of about to just bang my head into my desk, but then my keyboard was right there, and then I didn't want to accidentally cut something off, so I froze anime style with my nose perfectly over the keyboard, trying not to press anything.
Yes, I love that for you.
Yeah, so whether you were having a big old turkey with big family, whether you were at a 5-day wedding, or whether you were enjoying quiet time on your own, happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back, everybody. It's December, it's dark, it's cold, but we have fantastic shows to talk about with you this week.
Yeah, and it's going to be a loaded one because we have 2 episodes of everything after skipping a week, so...
You didn't want to say stuffed one? Stuffing?
Oh, that's such a good... I'm having a hard time thinking about the Thanksgiving food because I'm still eating leftovers at this point. So it's just been nonstop for the past week. I'm done. I'm ready to be out of the turkey coma.
No, we had Indian food at all 5 days of the wedding. So the wedding festivities started on Tuesday night. I missed Tuesday because I had to work and it was in Richmond. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and technically Sunday, because I didn't get to bed till about 5:30 a.m., was just festivities. No turkey for Zoo, but lots of good times.
I don't know if you can complain because Indian sounds really good right now, and I might just get Indian for dinner. That is
I just kind of want some... I might just go down to Wawa and get one of the turkey bowls over mashed potatoes and gravy. They got a little stuffing on the side. So good.
I like that we're just switching. Okay, you could do the Thanksgiving now.
I mean, hey, you can always... I mean, now you're a West Coaster and you can find fancy foreign food.
Oh my gosh, all the
back, but no,
you come out
you're
here.
You're stuck in your LA ways.
Whoa, LA.
All right, well, we talked about how happy we were to talk to you guys. We got a couple of feedback emails in. Why don't you hit us off with Andre Sparks?
All right, so Andre Sparks hit us with an email. Hey guys, I finally went ahead and watched it. I got it.
Yeah, just watched it.
I know what the it is.
Is it in the subject?
The subject line. I was wait, I've read this email.
It was the Green Lantern bit, right?
Yes, the Green Lantern Beware My Power movie from Warner Brothers on HBO Max.
That is the aforementioned it.
Yeah, that is the it. I finally went ahead and watched it. I gotta say, DC Animation does it again. I truly wish they would have done something like this in live action years ago. Story, character development, and animation were all top notch. If you need something else to watch, I definitely recommend it. Keep up the good work, Andre. Well, I mean, I'm sorry for butchering this.
That's kind of how DC operates, right? They make great animated stuff, and they were just all right, everyone loved all this stuff. Make sure we do not use it in the live-action movies.
I mean, of course. And it's just the fact that Green Lantern is such an amazing character, and there's so much that you could do. Doesn't matter which one of the Green Lanterns of Earth it is, because there's 4 of them at this point. Just pick one and run with that story. So it is on my watch list. I will get there soon, but I'm glad to know it's as good as, all of the other DC animation stuff, because it's just, they're known for animation at this point, and James Gunn, just keep doing it. It actually, that reminds me, we don't have a news section this week, but that was a piece of news that they announced this past week. They will be making games and animated shows that tie into the new greater DCU, because it's not DCEU anymore. I'm just hoping that Young Justice makes that cut, but it is interesting that they're acknowledging at the forefront that there will be other things outside of just the movies.
Dude, Young Justice just needs to be the foundation. Like, Young Justice should just be how DC operates.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of directions for them to go, but
Justice is the way.
Young Justice, this is the way.
This is the only way. Speaking of DC stuff, what was the game called? Gotham Knights. They announced a new game mode that can be used from 1 to 4 players. And it's a specific game mode, but it's basically like a Starro invasion.
Starro.
Yeah, so it's not part of the story. It's like its own specific game mode, and I don't know too many of the details because I still haven't played the game yet. But this is like the only time that you can play with all 4 characters and have 4 people to play with, because that's some of the things that people were talking about how you can only have one person like in the campaign. So the fact that they open this up to kind of have something over to the side and play with more people is pretty cool, because a game with that system just kind of has endless possibilities. So the fact that they're just like slowly adding things on, this could very well be a game that survives like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, I sure hope so. I've heard some mixed things, and I hopefully will be getting it soon. But, my main request hearing that is, do they get a 5th playable character that is Jarro at this point? Or are you looking at me like you don't know who Jarro is?
Both.
Jarro is my favorite joke ever. Jarro is the 6th Robin. There's a comic run where Batman keeps a tiny piece of Starro in a jar and ends up naming him Jarro, and like they bond and fall in love, not fall in love, but like they have the camaraderie, and then he ends up giving him a little Robin outfit and starts fighting crime with Jarro, whom still has the bloodlust of Starro. So it's just like, let's go kill people, Batman. And Batman's like, no, we're gonna stop them. But still, it's just this weird, the 6th Robin is Jarro in a jar.
You're basically just telling me that you want Damian.
Oh wait, I forgot Damian's not in the game. I completely forgot. Poor Damian.
Yes, you can have Damian.
Okay. Full circle. Let's go. Okay.
All right, next stuff from Charles Horton. Do you want to take this one or should I? This is a fun one.
I take it. I know you want this, you giddy little bugger.
Hello. I want to start by saying love the podcast. Thank you. I'm glad y'all are covering the shows y'all do. I love the coverage. The animated segment is great. The excitement you exhibit is contagious. The only piece of feedback I have, and it isn't a huge deal overall, but it's the pronunciation of Deku. It should be Deku or Deku. It's kind of spelling, so reading this is a little weird. But it should be Deku versus Deku. Deku. Minor thing, but I wanted to share. Hopefully I don't hurt any feelings. You all are awesome, guys. Look forward to more animation coverage. Thanks, Charles.
Charles, you did not hurt any feelings. I can promise you that much, because I know I am the main culprit of this mispronunciation.
Yeah, and we are primary English speakers trying to say Japanese words, so we are all open for corrections, but because this is one that I've called up before, I had a great laugh reading that this morning, so thank you for starting off my day on such a high note.
Oh no, trust me. Monica's getting an earful later that, like, she speaks Japanese and at no point decided to correct me on this. Like,
I mean, clearly we've corrected you and you just looked past it and we just gave up. So
yes, there are corrections. I could blame it on the northeastern accent, but when I probably have the least accent of the two of us here, there's not really. I could keep going. There's the Zelda thing, the Great Deku Tree. Oh shoot, I said it right there. Okay, well, there's no excuse. Thank you for correcting us on that. We
us,
J. Scotty too. Look, you keep saying it's a we. We are all in this together. We
now
think
you wanna
Naruto is a
listen to
mediocre
me.
show.
Now you want to listen to me. Okay.
Now, thank you for that. And if anyone else has corrections like this, please don't hesitate to do this. Like, we take them.
Educate us.
Yeah, we take it as education because this is another language. I want to do it right in the same way. If we ever do culture things wrong or, tradition, whatever, feel free to reach out and let us know. This was an easy one that I will still probably screw up, but
And Andrew
conscious
apparently
it
only
will
listens
be.
to you guys, so make sure you write in, because...
Well, why would I listen to Zuhair?
Why? Why?
See, that's the thing.
Why
I
and
can choose whether or not to listen to you. They have to. They can't mute your parts in the car. That's what it is.
They could turn the podcast off, but I'm just such a delight to listen to. Why would they?
I want that confidence.
Speaking of confidence, let's confidently talk about as much of an anime as we can in 1 minute. We have 2 to cover within those 1 minutes too. Are you ready for this?
I wish I was, but I don't have my phone here to be a timer.
All right, so while he figures that out, Animated is a segment where we don't have enough time to talk about anime every week. So our primary is My Hero Academia, and throughout the week, the ones that we're obsessed with, we try to get as much of our thoughts out as we can in 1 minute. If there's one that you want to hear more about when the season is over, we will happily do an episode on it. So tell us which shows you love, tell us which ones you love hearing about, because we are here to talk about it. Now are you ready to pick one?
I'm so ready. I found
All
a
right.
timer, everyone.
Which one are we starting with? Chainsaw Man or Spy Family?
I'll do Chainsaw Man.
All right, Chainsaw Man, Episode 8, Gunfire. He might talk about Episode 7, in which I do not have the title up in front of me.
I could give you my guess at the title, but it's going to be wrong.
Sure, make one up.
Okay.
Did you pronounce that right?
Maybe. I don't know. If you have any thoughts, you can email us at animationdeliberationpodcast@gmail.com.
We are in a mood today.
We really are. All right, I'm going to start this timer. What the actual hell is this show at this point? I don't know. Everything's a surprise between these 2 episodes. I kind of knew this was coming because I saw the manga panel of the big event that happened in episode 7, and I was still so caught off guard. This show is just insane. Definition of not for children anymore. But it's still weird that I love these characters and I love what they're doing and I hate that I love it. It's just bizarre that they can have these interactions and I'm still on board with this show because it doesn't make sense. And then this most recent episode is just even more of I can't follow it. I can't guess it. Everything is insane. I don't know who lives. I don't know who dies. I don't think I've felt this stressed about characters since Game of Thrones. Like nothing else has gotten me this level of invested and hype. And it's just... oh, it's amazing. And Mappa, why did you do it so well? Why did you do all of this to such a flawless degree? But I'm sad and I'm happy and I need to know what comes next.
I hate you, I love you, I hate that, I love you.
Unintentional reference, but I'm glad it came through because that was definitely what was happening in my subconscious.
Yeah, the show definitely was hitting the point where it was just, yeah, we're going to have our funny stuff. It's going to be our film noir look. It sits at a cliffhanger. We start off with some cool action. It's over quickly and then, rinse and repeat. But I believe it was Jay Scotty that said the last time that we spoke that this whole gun demon thing, the gun devil thing, is what seems to be the ongoing story and what we're actually going to stick with a little bit. So the fact that there seems to be a bit of a following and a bit of a cult of these people like actually stopping the devil hunters from making their progress, it's very intriguing. We do have a bigger story. I wasn't expecting, so many people to die right off the bat. I don't feel like they're actually dead and they're coming back, but that was just a wild series of events and things really are going to get hectic from here on out. So I'm putting aside my, okay, this is just going to be a redundant thing and we actually have a story moving forward.
I feel like yours was so much more composed than mine was.
Because you got it out.
No pun intended. Mine was just a word vomit. Pun intended. Who am I kidding?
God, that scene.
Well, and what's worse is like I'm upset that I looked this up the name of episode 7. The taste of kissing. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. And like,
dude,
no,
the
no,
end
we're not
credit.
the end credits
Credit
was
video
fine.
where it was actually
The-
the rainbows coming out.
The end credit was
What
hilarious.
am I watching?
It was just...
Dude, I was screaming throughout that sequence, like, what was going on? And then what we had today was like, what is going on? Pick a mood, people!
Yeah, I don't think it knows how. Like, this writer is insane, and the like information that keeps coming
That's what
out.
I love about anime, though.
But they've like done interviews recently, and the information that keeps coming out is hilarious to me. Because did you see the headlines that were like he wrote these very strong, bossy female characters because he met a girl in college that like bullied him, and he realized he liked it. So now he's just written all of these characters that bully the male characters.
No,
that's apparently his like initial reasoning for having like Makima be this very dominant woman.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I just love her character overall. Hopefully not rest in peace. I do have a friend who did not want his name disclosed, but he did want to disclose that he was a doctor, that he was very upset that all of his waifus were killed off in this episode.
That was... What? You said doctor, I'm like, oh, is this going to be something about the vomiting in another person's mouth? No, it's that...
He just straight up said, I'll start listening to the podcast if you share this message to your listeners for me. So I am doing this so that he listens and realizes how amazing this podcast is and starts telling his patients about it every day. And then there's already like a banner of another brown doctor in the waiting room. I'm hoping to have mine up with it with the animation Deliberation. This is literally just to get the listenership up.
Marketing, baby.
Baby! I did that message. He has to listen now, and let's hope we have more listeners.
Well, on that note, I'm going to let you take Spy first, since I got to do all of the blustering Chainsaw Man.
You know, I before I do that, like, I wasn't happy because Chainsaw Man is supposed to be my silly thing after Bleach.
What episode was a silly? There was like one silly point. Everything else has been full on. Yeah.
Literally, this is the first episode that didn't have like pure comedy in it. But anyways, yeah. So I was mad that it was just 2 what the hell episodes. But moving on to Spy Family, the fun thing about the show is it's very reminiscent of like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry, where it's like 2 episodes within that 30-minute block. Like we're just getting like a couple of shorts. It really is fun. I'm glad that we finally got to like meet Nightfall, because we saw her in a previous episode and we see her in these closers all the time. I was wondering if it was just like steam from your cooking in the background from that epic closer, or if she's actually jealous and now I'm getting like what they were actually going at. So the fact that they're telling us like little bits of the story from the closer and now this is like unveiling what it is really fun. Everything between Anya getting mad at Bond and then all the stuffed penguin stuff and saying I hate you, like that broke my heart a little bit. But the whole sequence of making like a Franken penguin and all, it was just so good. This show is so good for the soul, and if you're not watching it, you're missing out so much.
Yeah, the Looney Tunes comparison is great. Like, it's heartfelt, it's genuine, there's just so much fun to be had. And, you know, 2 episodes ago, we got that great time of Anya just running around the hospital being a little menace that could read minds, and I just love that. It's just this new energy all the time with these characters that, like, you think they're going to be serious, and they're just emotion. The one woman, Nightfall, is just falling in love with him. It just doesn't need to make sense, and I love it. And I don't know why, the penguin saving arc here has been one of my favorite things that has happened this season. So much fun, so cute. I was on board. Like, Anya said, I hate you. And I was like, no, don't do that to Mr. Dog. You can't, no. And there's just so much happening. Lloyd bringing out the full, like, daddy energy with that entire arc. He was just on it. Like, if you're not in love with him, I am at this point. And then the number one laugh that I have gotten was not a borf, but open the door. Borfu? And yes, I hit that right on the minute mark. But just adding the U to the Borf killed me.
You started with daddy and now you're at daddy.
Oh yeah, I've like
You're
already
just like Anya's friend.
Yeah, no, they were already way too attractive of a couple, but there was something about the caretaker energy there that was just like, oh no, this is daddy. This is not there's a line that's been crossed.
Papa. Oh man, everything about that show is so great. And that closer is still so perfect.
Opening and closer across the board, like I think anime has started to really realize how important that is, because it feels like all of the newer stuff is just killer open and closer, whereas like they were good before but they weren't a focal point.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's top of the like mind, I suppose.
Did we ever talk about how Chainsaw Man's opener is based off of like scenes from different movies? Like different Hollywood movies? Did you watch that montage?
I know I put it on our Instagram story like after the first episode came out, and I think I mentioned, hey, there's references in there, but I don't think we've like talked at length about it, but it's so much fun. And that song is stuck in my head nonstop.
I think this was the first time I skipped the opener just because of how wild the show started off.
Fair. That's a fair reason.
I was like, I don't care enough and I listen to a song on a regular basis. What is happening?
Yeah. But yeah, if you weren't aware, the opening and closers for Chainsaw Man, they are proper art. Stay for every closer. Yeah, I was about to say, stay for every closer. It's not only a different song, but a different animation to go with it every single week.
I hated this one. It was so sad.
Oh, it
was so sad.
It kept evoking emotions. It really...
Stop. Make it stop. All right, we got one more. Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, Episode 8, The Shooting Star Project. Everything about the show has been bonkers. I kind of want to talk about the last episode more because, you know, we watched the head captain show off every part of his powers. We're like, why does the main hero need to come in? Now he's dead and the main hero does come in. We're like, all right, let's see him just like wreck shop. No, he gets his ass handed to him too. We get the big unveiling of him being a Quincy. We're going to see more about his family and this and that. And then we go into like the ramifications within this episode. So a few people are still alive, but you know, everything is just shattered. The Soul Society is destroyed. The 13 head captains are just kind of like at an all-time low right now. And now we're going to see the palace for the first time. So what they have in store for Ichigo, we don't know. Of course, we're going to have another training montage for a while. Like, how could you not? But things are wild in the show. Like, it's about as gut-wrenching as My Hero Academia is, and we're here for it.
Yeah, obviously I'm not watching Bleach, but I think I even messaged you, like, as much as there was crazy stuff going on in Chainsaw Man and crazy stuff going on in My Hero, I think I saw more Bleach what is going on than anything else. So
this is the oldest one. This started when Naruto did. Like, Bleach started when I was in middle school, and now they're just, like, making this, like, reemergence. So, like, the fan base behind that is much higher than the other shows that we talk about.
Well, I mean, they're the only one of the big three that, like, took a break and came back fresh. Because you got, you know, One Piece, as we've talked about, is still just hanging out, and Boruto is Boruto.
Boruto's another one that has better openers and closers than it does actual episodes.
That's interesting.
But I was looking at some of the manga excerpts that are out right now, and it's like, ooh, it looks like things are getting interesting again. Try to skip all these fillers and start reading.
I mean,
Naruto was the only time I ever read manga, so it's like, kind of makes sense to just read it for Boruto now.
Wow.
Yeah. I could not wait for Naruto, and I was in high school at the time, so first it went to... I was watching the dubbed episodes, and then I was watching the subbed, which is easier to do when class was going on, because I could just read the subtitles while the teacher was talking. And then I ran out of those episodes, so I started reading the manga, because I could just click through every week. And obviously I didn't make the time to learn Japanese, so I couldn't do the Japanese manga. But yeah, I was locked in from middle school until college when it finally ended.
Love is love, that's for sure.
Such a great show. So that is it for our animated. If there's anything that you guys want to hear from, make sure you hit up our socials, you email us, animationdeliberation@gmail.com. And if there's any of these shows that you want to hear more about, let us know so that when the season is over, we can have episodes dedicated to it. But, the
25 minutes in.
biggest, never-ending heartbreak on a week-to-week basis, My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 8, Episode 9. Can't handle it.
Neither can I. I'm going to do a synopsis of episode 9, Katsuki Bakugo Rising, for everyone. We are going to talk about both episodes 8 and 9. I don't want to sit here and make you all listen.
Talking order while you do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to we're not going to prattle on about this forever, so I'm just going to do the synopsis of the most recent episode, and we will go from there. But in case you were somehow looking for not spoilers or whatever, we're covering both of those episodes. To desperately halt the effects of the quirk-destroying drug, Eraserhead cuts his leg off. Despite this, Shigaraki manages to reach his face, slicing one of his eyes just as Shoto appears, who had been following Deku and Bakugo. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. I was consciously there.
Another version of it. You're throwing in letters that don't belong anymore, just out of spite.
Wait, what did I say?
You said Deco.
I said Deku and Bakugo, blasting him with a mountain of ice and further knocked back by Deku.
Jesus.
With Eraser unconscious, his quirk is undone and Shigaraki begins to regenerate all of his injuries. Meanwhile, the evacuation team overhear the mass destruction caused by Gigantomachia as he makes a reckless beeline directly towards his master. The rest of the UA students in Gunga can only look on in fear at the devastation left in his wake. Shigaraki prepares to finish everyone off, only for his body to suddenly split open, realizing that he has awakened too early. Deku figures out that, just like him, his body can't withstand the power of All for One. At this moment, Midoriya unlocks the quirk of the 7th user, Nanashimaru's float, and combined it with Black Whip, pulls Shigaraki into the air and rescues his companions. He proceeds to duel Shigaraki in the air alone while the heroes recover on the ground, causing Bakugo to get anxious. He recalls a conversation with All Might during their training prior, where Bakugo voiced his worries regarding a mystery of the One for All users, and admitting that his bullying of Midoriya came from not understanding his unselfish attitude. While unleashing the full power of One for All to overwhelm Shigaraki, even despite the damage to his body, Bakugo and Shoto get Endeavor into the air so he can finish Shigaraki off for good with Prominence Burn. As he burns alive, All for One's voice calls out to Shigaraki, his body suddenly releasing an array of ribbit stabs to knock Endeavor away. Shigaraki, in quotes, shoots out several toward Midoriya, but with no hesitation, just like he had done before, Bakugo blasts forward, pushing Midoriya out of the way and getting stabbed instead.
Alright, so a lot of last week's episode was Class A and B trying to stop Gigantomachia. We didn't get to talk about that. So I do want to put that aside so that we can just give the attention to the big oh my moments. That was what the show has been doing is making us feel like we have this hope and there's a chance that we're going to win and that the tides are turning in our favor. But ever since Kaminari took that shock, that has not come to fruition. I feel so bad for these heroes just watching Gigantomachia just break through, wrecking these towns. You were asking before, like, how far do you think it is from, like, one of the salt sites to the other?
Oh my gosh.
The number of cities that they named in between was terrifying. Like, you know when, you were in Buffalo, but, school days, you wake up and you're, like, waiting for your school to get called because there's so many that are going to be closed because it's snowing.
Yeah,
this was the amount of cities that might get just fully trampled with no survivors.
It just kept going. Like, that was the feeling inside me. They listed off like 3 or 4, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the 5th came, and then the 6th came, and I would guess there was about a dozen cities mentioned that were going to just be absolutely leveled. And it was heartbreaking amongst all of the other heartbreak, because not only were we getting that, but we were also just seeing the defeat that was on the students' faces, that they couldn't stop what was happening, that the tranquilizer wasn't going to take effect, that something had gone wrong. Just that pure, raw, it's over was so crazy. And that was before we even knew that some of the heroes had sacrificed themselves getting the students out to safety. Like, so they are already guilty about that. Now there's all of these other cities in the way.
And they're trying to convince them to, like, hey, you guys made the right call. Whatever happens, like, you guys made the right choice. Don't worry about that. Don't let that sit. The dude who probably gave that message is dead right now.
Yeah, no, it's the pure heart of, like, this is what it takes to be a hero. You know that All Might and Endeavor have had to sit there at night thinking about not who they saved, but who they couldn't save. And unfortunately, these students now have to go through that. And it's crazy that we have said this is what it is. And I mean, we were warned it's going to be dark, and I fear this is not as dark as it gets. And that's what's even crazier.
Yeah. Man, there's just so much going on. It's crazy how Ashido actually knew Gigantomachia. Like, that was the bully that she stopped when they were kids.
Oh, yes. That moment when she put the pieces together of
and
that
she froze
happening.
because of it. Her entry was so incredible. Like, they had the quicksand in right. She got her boost. She had this acid armor getting through all of it. And then as she was supposed to toss it, just froze because she recognized him. And there was just that sync that happened. But then Red Riot coming in to be able to return the favor of wrestling. Like, everything ties together so nicely. Like, why did we need this story between the two of them? We thought it was all about Red Riot. And then to find out that, like, those were just more seeds that they planted for season 6 was just, man, the attention to detail in this show is just always so baffling.
Yeah, and that one feels like another budding romance possibility that we have going on there. Those two seem to have a pure moment between them, no matter how fleeting it was. But
that was one of the ships, right?
It's definitely one of the ships. I wouldn't be surprised. It's also that weird, like, they are all coming together, whether it be in a familial love or a platonic love or a romantic love. When all of this is over, they're going back to the dorms and just all being together in some capacity of just like, we did this together. But I will say, we talk about how heavy things are getting and how great things are. I feel like the attempts at comedy are slowly falling by the wayside in these two episodes. Like, they're still trying, but it's not enough to pull through this because, like, this most recent episode, I know the comedy moment was like, splits open with injury. Wait, what month is it? Like, no, I wasn't laughing at that. That was just...
What was it?
It was when Shigaraki, like, split in half, and instead of being like, oh no, I'm not fully formed yet, he just looked at the heroes like, wait, what's today's date? Like...
Oh, I didn't think that. That was terrifying. I didn't think that was a comedy attempt at all.
I took that as a comedy attempt. That might just be misreading, but yeah, that was, like, the only thing that I could think of, because I'm still going to hang back on this previous episode before, like, so many things happened. I almost forgot that they nearly killed Gran Torino off. Like, they gave us a whole episode of Gran Torino pummeled into the ground just there. And I, like, nearly forgot about that because there's so much happening. I'm like, that's not okay. He is one of our, like, big characters in all of this. And I nearly forgot that happened.
My important is not stature. There's a comedy attempt.
Hey, I will say that's one nitpick. How did he go from 6'2" to like 3'4"?
HB like that. You know, like all the gas he's pushing off. Once he got older, like he had to compensate with the size. He's just getting shorter every time he's
just getting compressed.
That's why he tried to retire. Yep.
That one just doesn't make any sense. You can convince me that All Might can get bigger. You can't convince me Gran Torino can get smaller. I don't agree.
It's like Fat Gum. Like, he was just building up, like, all the compression into his height, and now he's just like letting it out. But he's too old to, like, refill. Clothes are much cheaper in the kids aisle, okay?
It's funny because his clothes still
He's
look kind of
working on
baggy,
Social
though.
Security now. He's not part of an agency. Let the man do his thing. He could be dying soon.
Yeah, I still, he doesn't feel safe. No one feels safe. I don't.
No, him getting his ribs broken in was the start of Deku being like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm in this fight. That's what he started considering 100%. And when you have to start off an episode with Aizawa just cleanly just taking a knife out of his hip and chopping. I understand that it's an anime, we're supposed to be quick with that, but like the level of power that goes into cleaning off somebody's leg with one swipe, the power and
Right?
determination that needs to go into that, and then to still be conscious like while it's happening.
Yeah,
Oh
Endeavor,
my
cauterize that.
god!
Let's close that off. No, because that was my thing when they had that
Wait,
like
did it
tease.
never cauterize it?
Maybe he did. I can't. There's so
Because
many things happen.
I know, like one of the two heroes was trying to like get the scarf around to tie it up, and I know Black Whip was like holding it for a second,
Mm,
but just the sheer shot, like that's how the episode started. We're like, oh, he lost his powers. I'm wondering about Aerie at this point. Like, is she gonna reverse it and this and that? I was like,
yeah,
is she gonna reverse his leg coming back? Oh my god!
that was one of my
Um,
questions. Can Eri reattach legs? Because they
And
gave
then
us that.
it wasn't even the decay that was hitting his face. It was Shigaraki with pure will just ripping his face off, trying to get to his eyes. Like, dude, the rating had to have gone up for this episode. I don't pay attention to ratings because I'm a grown man. I don't think I did when I was a kid, anyways. But it had to have gone up for that because that made me just as uncomfortable as the vomiting kiss scene.
Yeah, no, for sure. It goes back to my question at the beginning of the season, like, was this the first time we saw blood? When Twice was killed, that felt like a weird moment that we could see his blood spilling off the balcony. And I'm wondering if we did a little age up, like, okay, we can't show this to kids anymore. It's gonna change. But yeah, I don't know. Between, like, I didn't know what was going to happen when we had that cliffhanger last episode because it was just the bullet going into his legs and his eyes fading. And I was like, why is he pulling out his knife? What does he think he's going to do? That wasn't an option in my head. Like, that one did not cross my mind as a
I was like,
possibility.
maybe drain the blood, get the poison out of it like a snake bite. Like, nope, not taking any chances. Here's your dinner tonight.
Yeah, it's again like, and they almost did a fake out, and then they retconned the fake out, so to speak, of like watching his eyes fade and the color go away. So it's like, oh, his quirk's gone. No, that was actually him losing focus. Like, they had us so fooled. But again, you said it at the top, it's the feeling of hopelessness that episode 7 or 8 rather, episode 8 ended, and I didn't know what the hope was. I was like, Aizawa's out. We don't have his power anymore. It's over. And they didn't even give us hope back by having his leg cut off. They just gave us moments. And then this episode is the same thing of like, there's no hope at the end. We hit the end of this road and I just feel hopeless and I don't know where it goes.
I'm scared for everybody.
But Bakugo, like, it can't be Bakugo, right?
Before we get to that, there was a guess that you had that Shigaraki's 2 missing fingers was a weapon of some sort.
I was so upset that wasn't true.
When he pulled out the bullet, I was like, "Oh my god, is Andrew right?
I thought he was going to shoot it."
Gun?" And then he flicked it. I was like, "Oh, thank God! I can't let him be right."
Yeah, no, I was so ready for that, and I mean that I don't also still. It doesn't make sense how he just also bit Midoriya's arm during the 100% smash, and then also still had enough wherewithal to flick the bullet. Like, his physical and mental prowess at this point is off the charts.
That's just spiritual drive.
Spiritual?
There are so the readiness triangle. If a triangle makes readiness, you got 3 parts of it: mind, body, spirit. And for each mind, body, spirit, you have preparedness, awareness, and willingness, in that order: mind, body, spirit. Sorry, I switched two of them. So preparedness is having what you need physically, the tools. Awareness is obviously just being aware of the situation, understanding your surroundings, understanding what it takes, and the willingness is actually like the spirit to do something. So this is like this triangle that I live by, right? The first time I learned about it just blew my mind.
Can I
So
ask a
Shigaraki
question?
at this point, literally just willingness, like he is shredded and just kind of like, I need to hit this cool guy with this bullet. What is your question?
So my question, is it and this might be pedantic, but I'm trying not to be. Is this like a pyramid of like you want to build up to this, or is this a triangle of like
Three
you can
sides of the
only?
triangle.
But is it a triangle of like you can only pick two, or
You need all three.
Okay, so it's building to the thing. Okay, I didn't know if it was one of those like
triangle. The whole triangle represents readiness, and if you do not have preparedness, awareness, and willingness, you are not truly ready to do something. So to make a phone call, preparedness, do I have the phone? Awareness, do I know who I'm calling? Willingness, do I actually do I have the desire to make this phone call? Which a lot of the time with phone calls, most introverts don't.
I was just about to say, me ordering Chinese, like, do I have the triangle in front of me?
Yeah, exactly. So it's something as simple as that, and it's something as elaborate as, do I want to put this core-killing bullet into this goat's leg?
That's super cool, and I don't know. I get that he has that drive, but the fact that his motivation is just, I hate you, is crazy. Like, his drive is not, I want to avenge my parents, or these people have wronged me. Like, at least we could kind of logic our way to how Eren Yeager got to what he did, even though it's not right. Shigaraki is just raw anger and angst, and it's just crazy that he's still at this level. Like, I want to have the Zuko moment of, well, you could be more powerful if it wasn't just anger. Like,
but it is a life of resentment, right? Like, he was looked at wrong and he killed his whole family, and you know, how much does he know about his actual mother that apparently left him? And like, you see how much that's still affecting Gran Torino. Like, every punch he puts into Shigaraki, he just talks about how, oh my god, excuse me, what is her name? I was trying to find in the paragraph as I was going down that. Shimura. He was like, Shimura would be so disappointed in you and this and that. Like, that man's got hate built up, and you know that All for One is just feasting on it. He's just pointing this weapon in the direction of like, yes, everyone hates you. Everyone's out to get you. Heroes are frauds, and it's a lot.
Yeah, no, and that's my thing. I don't disagree with, like, he was wronged, but by heroes, by a small group of people. To kill people en masse like this is, whew, ooh-wee. But yeah, it does make me wonder how much is All for One behind this. Now that we've kind of gotten this, we saw it coming a little bit. The whole, is he actually in control? And we got that confirmation at the end when he looked at Midoriya and went, oh, hello, brother. It was like, okay, so this is All for One. At what point do we find out Shigaraki was literally just a vessel?
It seems to be getting that way, because first Shigaraki was like, no, I'm going to do this on my own terms because you haven't been doing it the right way. I appreciate you raising me, but like, we're doing this the Shigaraki way now. And now that he actually is just getting absolutely pummeled, like, Endeavor's entrance was so cool, and I called it that Shoto was going to come in like just to cool him off, to give him the power to do it. But that scream, that was a nightmarish scream of Endeavor just hugging him from behind, hitting that prominence blast, just you see him burning in his face, and I was like, oh my god, make it stop. But like, he's done. And now All for One, because you see him like grinning in his cell too. He's just kind of like, I'm gonna take over. You don't want to die now. And yeah, he's taking the wheel, and it's terrifying. Like, that was his power. The little zigzaggy dark side looking spears that came out.
The rivet stabs.
Yeah, I guess they're called rivet stabs.
The more you know. Yeah, it also feels very Voldemort Horcruxy, I guess. That
A little
like
bit.
there's a possibility there's another body out there. Like, even if they manage to kill Shigaraki all for one, there's still the all for one that is in the prison cell. Could there be more? Like, I don't know. It's never ending. It's hopeless. I'm terrified. I need to know more. Also, it's episode 9. There's so many things happening. Does Eri even play a part in all of this? Like, there's so many
She has to in
questions.
some way.
I don't even know anymore, because also the Nomu are still running rampant. Like, I don't even know if any other heroes could get from the civilians to Shigaraki because of the Nomu army that's standing between them. Like, as much as I want to see Uraraka show up and help, I don't even know if they can get there.
Unless Ida gives her a piggyback ride.
Maybe. I don't know. It's
I mean, in the little bit of like next time on, like you see that Ida is getting involved somehow. I don't know if he's actually going to make it to the battlefield or if he's just doing stuff in his area. Or I feel bad talking about the next time on, but it's like I'm in shock throughout the credits, so I don't like hit back before it comes on, and then I'm just sitting there in absolute silence, and then Spy Family plays by itself, and then I'm happy again.
Oh my god. I forgot to mention, thank you for saying this. So you watched the credits this week, right?
Yes. Oh my god, what
You
was
caught
different?
it?
What was different? I can't remember what it was.
So
I knew that there was something different.
Usually right near the end, it's Shigaraki like standing on the roof with his cape fluttering. This time, it was baby Bakugo holding out his hand and big Bakugo
the water!
holding it in the water instead of Midoriya, grabbing it and pulling him up. And I was just like, no, this feels like an actual goodbye like it was for Twice, and I'm not ready for that.
No, that was Midoriya's hand both times.
No, it was baby Bakugo and big Bakugo. There was no...
No, there was baby Bakugo and big Bakugo in the water, and there was a hand reaching out to each one.
I assume it's like them connecting. Like,
No,
it's the idea of one helping up the other.
No, this was the exact scene from when Bakugo fell off the bridge, and even though he was okay, Midoriya ran down to grab him.
Right.
That's what that was showing. So it was showing Midoriya lifting him up because we had that conversation of Bakugo and All Might and like how much he actually does care for him. That's what that was representing. That wasn't Bakugo picking himself up. That was a symbolism of like how much of an effect Midoriya actually had on Bakugo that we're hearing him confess for the first time in a flashback scene.
Well, yes, but like, I think you're most of the way there in the fact that it's symbolism. I think the symbolism is he's in his head, he's replacing Midoriya with himself. Like, he's the one that has to do the saving now. It's it's finally his time to be selfless enough, so he's the one pulling the little boy out this time, not Midoriya.
I think this is his way of saying thank you for pulling me back then, but I don't want to get too much into it.
No,
this
I agree.
This is artistic interpretation.
No, I totally agree
it's Midoriya
that it's
both times picking him up, but yeah, I remember because of everything that happened with Twice, I was like, I gotta pay attention to this because something's about to switch up, and I was like, well, there it is.
Yeah, but again, it felt too final. Seeing that was a problem to me.
There's no way they're gonna kill off Bakugo and Endeavor.
And that's the weird thing. I think someone has to die, but I don't know who. At this point, it feels like the gravely injured are like kind of safe. Like,
I need Eri to show up Goku style and just rewind Shigaraki before he got implanted and Aizawa with his leg and Bakugo and Endeavor being alive.
Can she undo...
Can she just be the sensu bean that we need?
Yeah, well, it is that like interesting how far back can she go, because when she initially showed up, I think we all assumed, oh, she'll reverse Lemillion's, or actually they even said that's the goal, is to train you up so you can reverse Lemillion's, loss of quirk.
Yeah.
So, like, does she need to touch the things? What's the
She has to be
activation
under
condition?
Aizawa's like supervision at all times because her power can
Right.
get out of control. How is she going to respond when she finds out what happens to her caretaker?
Oh yeah, maybe she actually does save the
Still
day
a
because
baby.
she just goes buck wild. On the topic of her being a little baby, I got a mini Funko the other day that is the scene of Midoriya going infinite with Eri on his back.
Aw.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I've seen the regular size Funko. That's cute.
Yeah, I got a little baby one.
Midoriya's powers. There was a lot of speculation of, is he going to get all of his powers? Are we getting one at a time? And do we still have more of the story? Are we just going to see everything and this is like the last season of the show and they're just not telling us? I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are reading the manga right now. Like, read the damn manga so we can tell you. Thank you, everybody who hasn't done that yet, but we're sorry we're
Thanks,
putting you
Fabian.
through this. It's there's a lot that could happen. I want there to be more story. Like, there's no way that this can be like the final showdown. But it's cool that Float was unlocked already, and he's actually been working on this, as opposed to him unlocking something and figuring it out right away. So at first I was like, there's such an intense situation going on. Why do I care about a flashback? But that was a very good flashback. It was, I don't know why I paid so much attention to this, but it's cute how like Uraraka actually had like
Her
tied
hair.
up.
It was so cute.
Like, because to go out of like a character's normal style is like a lot of work for animators. So the fact that they did that was just kind of like, oh, I love this. And then her like yelling at Bakugo for beating him up to the point that he can't learn all the time was just so cute. So it was her, Tape Arms. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. And Sue just kind of going over the power. But then that deep talk between All Might and Bakugo, the fact that he actually sat and had a civil conversation for a solid 2 minutes. Such growth in Bakugo. Now there's a growth coming out of Bakugo's front and back.
Oh no.
It's interesting. I like how Gran Torino recognized it right away too. He's like, that's my master's power.
Yeah, no, they were totally on board.
That was epic how like he was about to hit the decay because Aizawa's power turned off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, nope,
Weep.
we're going for a die. On
Yeah.
Deku's arms, he was like, if my teacher can cut his own leg off, I can bust up my arms no problem. It's worth it.
And that's the thing. There's a real chance that this is the final season because his arms like can't take much more. Like, we have to hit a point where it's like, this is all that I have left. Even though we know he's going to continue being a hero, I don't know. There's still a lot left for these characters to give, though. I think that's the one big piece of hope. Like, Shoto just got there. Todoroki has all the power. How does he use it from here? Unless, of course, Dabi shows up.
Yeah, Gigantomachia could very well show up to all this with all the Nomu still being there. That's such a terrifying thought.
Yeah, like, I beg the question, is this the last we've seen of Gigantomachia for the first 12 episodes? Like, we've talked about, it's going to be 2 chunks. Like, do we even have time to focus on the B story anymore?
They find a way to make it relevant.
They do. Every time I'm not upset by the extra relevance of what's going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, because the last time we talked, we were talking about how like they cut to like where it would cut to commercial. Like we had Midori and then it cut to midnight. I was like, I don't care that it happened. And I was just kind of like, this is intriguing.
Yeah. Side note, made some real interesting animation decisions with Midnight, but that's neither here nor there. That was some weird fan service. You know what I'm talking about. That's the funniest part. I have confirmed. Never mind. We're going to ignore it and keep going. I have confirmed you were correct with the Bakugo in the water thing, that both times he is reaching for Deku's hand. Yes. So you were correct. Interpretation was correct. But watching this back reminded me like, I was so sucked in, I barely
I'm a
noticed.
bachelor's in art school, boy.
Well, your bachelor's in art school will appreciate the interesting, like, old school TV set animation they decided to use for that little bit of like Bakugo's mind, that it had the rounded edges and was like a little faded and grainy, so that like when they wanted to cut it out, it was the old school TV like pew and the line to the middle. Like, I don't know why they did that, but it felt right to trigger your brain that like this is something happening outside of the battle. It's not just a flashback. It's like in someone's mind, I guess.
They wanted you to just hear your heartbeat for a second. Because when the team came up, you had that second of pin drop silence.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Did you think he was going to jump in the way?
I don't know what was happening. Dude, 20 minutes of my Saturday is literally just pure shock.
Stress. 100% stress.
I told you, like, this is why I love TV shows and movies, because, like, my brain sits at the door and I am just locked into somebody else's world. This is why I love theaters. If I could watch these 20 minutes in a theater every week, it would be so much better. But
yeah, the theater experience.
I don't think about. I mean, I do, but it's so far back in my mind of like, oh, this is gonna happen, or they're gonna do this, or they're gonna do that. Like, it's like you shove the voices in a closet and they're trying to tell you, and you're just like, no, I'm in the moment. This is what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's a great way to watch it. I just ask these questions as a podcaster, so to speak. Like,
I don't know how much of this is like I actually did think about it in the moment, or it's just like a hindsight. Like, of course I thought about that, because like in the I seriously am just locked in.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just,
and this is why I have to watch it by myself too. I can't have anybody say like, "Oh, this is gonna happen," because I will want to like just push that person out of the window the second that they take me out of that trance.
I was about to say, it's the after the fact. It is like, put on the movie theater every time before. Don't text, don't call, don't post. Like, you do not do anything. You don't talk. You don't.
Yeah.
Nothing happens when that screen goes on. That's it. Unless it's like we're rewatching something or it's a comedy, whatever. When it's go time, it is go time for things like this.
Yeah, like I love my little cousin, and he's so excited that he has like somebody that he can talk to about MCU stuff. So he was like, hey, the Guardians 3 trailer came out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm swamped with work stuff right now. I'll watch it in a minute. He was like, oh, I totally think that blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, bro, I don't want to know. Respect the fact I haven't seen it yet. I don't want to know that, like, this is going to make me cry or this is going to be really funny. Like, I need my own opinions on things. And my own perceptions on things. I can't have outside voices. That's why I watch shows by myself now. That's why I'm very particular about who I go to the movies with. Like, this is my escape from everything. And I can't have little things ruined like that. And I wish people could just understand to STFU until that person says that they have seen it. I'm trying not to cuss so Scotty doesn't have to cut it out.
Yeah, we did a weirdly good job. Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I have a sailor mouth. Like, it's really hard to wash my mouth. I can't. I live in a Navy town.
Oh, come on. There's a camera. You can watch your mouth. Just look in the screen. Bad jokes are bad. And he's giving me some fingers here. Yeah, they're flying away. No, I don't want to harp on. Yeah, I don't want to harp on it too much by any means, but yeah, the more I go to the movies, the more I think there are a lot of people that should not be allowed to go to the movies. There's just like, it's just lock in, enjoy yourself, disappear in that world. If I'm sitting through 3 hours of Avatar, you're sitting through it with me. Like, let's disappear from the rest of the world. And
no, it's on the 16th. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I got my tickets for that already. Oh man, this episode really tired me out.
We came in with a lot of energy. I think we maintained it very well. I'm very happy with how this came out. I hope your Dr. Friend really enjoys what was this was some two brain cell energy for sure. We were just playing ping pong back and forth a little bit there. But
I had coffee before I started editing, and I think it kicked in. Like I put my head down a couple times while I was editing, and it seemed to all have kicked in for the podcast.
Fantastic. Well, do you have
fans to the listeners? I hope this made up for the week that we didn't give you anything.
Yeah, we did give you an hour here.
Bonkers. Oh man.
Well, to all of our fans out there, give us a 5-star rating and review is the easiest way to support us as a show, completely free. And, we love getting all sorts of feedback from you guys, whether it be in the form of emails, reviews. It's great to know that we are getting to our listeners out there. And on top of great ways to give us feedback, all of our social media platforms, you can follow us on Twitter at AnimationDelib1 and Facebook and Instagram, Animation Deliberation. That is a great way to reach out. We didn't want to read them on the show, but we got some messages over the Thanksgiving holiday here in America. And they were just, thankful for us just as much as we talked at the top. Like, we are so thankful for all of you. It's just so nice to hear these things that, there are people on the other end of this rambling microphone. And there's just so many ways that you can reach out. Don't feel pressured by any means, but we love hearing that. And we love growing as a show and growing as a community as well. I still think my favorite thing ever was when we were getting so many emails during Young Justice that the emails started replying to each other on the show. Like, we were here, they were just responding to each other. It's so much fun to know that there is a group of you guys out there. And we appreciate you. There's so many things that we have going on and we just love doing them. But outside of Animation Deliberation, Zuhair, what do you have that you do?
This week I finally hopped back on to 323 with Reed Murphy. The timings just haven't been able to work out the last few times. But updated Commanders talk. We are 5-1 since Heineke started. So I'm very excited that we're actually on a hot winning streak right now and in the playoff picture. We got Marvel stuff coming out. So go to Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Andor just wrapped up. We got the Star Wars Universe podcast. There's just a lot of good content. Strandedpanda.com. Find it all. Listen to them. Show them love too. If you know people who listen to them that don't listen to us, get them to listen to us. Apparently, even if they don't watch anime, like, we're just a goofy bunch. Apparently, we're just fascinating to listen to.
I guess so. And I mean, it's not just limited to anime. We will be back to regular animation at some point as more of it comes out. Maybe even talk some Pokemon at some point. I'm just digging into the games. So that's a possibility on the horizon for sure, because I'm having a lot of fun no matter how goofy that game is.
Part of me wants to get the game now, like, while the glitches are there, because those highlight videos crack me up every week.
I'm not even mad. It's just so funny.
When I saw that, it was a montage of, like, all the glitches from the game. And then it was, like, with this happy, like, silly music. And then it gets, like, super dark. And then, like, the character's, like, passing a mountain, cuts the corner, and there's this, like, giant Delibird that just looks you dead in the eyes, and then, like, just waddles towards you at full speed. Like, the horror music that went with it was so perfect. Yeah, so all of that stuff that we're excited to talk about, make sure you tune in next time. That's TOONMISSISSAPPI.
What?
B plus Ultra, and as always, stay whelmed.
And until we pull each other out of the water again, friend, muscle.
Thank you for listening to the Animation Deliberation Podcast, a proud member of the Stranded Panda Network. If you would like to contact us, you can email animationdeliberationpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter @animationdelib1. For this and other great shows, you can visit strandedpanda.com or join the great community that is the Stranded Panda Chat Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/svchat. Tune in next time, and remember, stay whelmed.